Alright, so after a couple week hiatus, back again finally to start mixing paint. So, much like before, you can pretty much just mix in the airbrush if you know what you're going to do. But if you haven't gotten that far yet, then obviously you need to do some experimentation and figure out the color you're going to use. So, first, obviously you want to get all your paint shaken, stirred, whatever, and ready to go. Alright. Now, my advice is to basically start with essentially a 50-50 mix and start from there, as that will typically give you a good starting point. And then, okay. Now, using whatever tool, what have you want to use to mix up your paint, just get in there and just try to get as much of it mixed together as possible so as to give you a good idea, and also so as to basically basically make sure everything's consistent. Now, once you do have it mixed using something ideally that is white or close to it, just dab a little on and give it a second or two. Depending on the type of paint, basically just let it dry, check it, and if it looks like it's either not exactly what you want, proceed then to mix again. Now, depending on the complexity of the color you're trying to do, this will basically get pretty complex. So ideally, once you do get the color you want, you definitely want to write it down just for future reference, and so make sure you do have it somewhere so you're not having to go nuts trying to remix a particular color. Again, if it doesn't look like you're getting much change, you can obviously just increase the rate at which you add paint. So instead of say like 1 drop and then you find you could say do 2 or 3 drops. So as just to try and speed the process up a little. Now, obviously you also want to be, when you're doing this mixing, if you have any type of reference you're using, you want to always go back to that reference and check with it, so as just to make sure the color you're trying to achieve is what you're trying to create matches. And try not to do that. But yeah, basically you'll eventually, over several iterations, get what you're trying to do. So I'm going to continue doing that and get back in a little bit. So now we're going to actually do the actual finishing, or do the actual paint coat. Sorry. In the past, you basically could just pretty much spray as many layers as you want. You really didn't need to worry as much. However, since we're now doing the actual paint coat, you're going to need to try and be a lot more careful with just the amount of paint you're putting down. Now obviously you want to put down enough such that you get the color you want, but at the same time you need to try and make sure you get all of the parts consistently the same color. With opaque colors, such as I'm using here, this is not as critical an issue. But if you're using, say, clear colors, this essentially will become more or less life or death, as if you put down too much paint, then obviously the color is going to come out a lot darker, and you'll have to adjust and so on and so forth. So, I can't stress this enough, this is one of the downsides of airbrushing, and to a lesser extent if you're using the rattle spray cans. But yeah, this is something just to try and be careful of, and just basically watch out for, as you can easily screw up here. Again, sorry about my camera work, and one of the fortunate downsides of being a one-man crew here. Yeah. Anyway, again, just like before, you're going to be applying the paint basically in the same manner as you did your primer and base coat. The only difference here is that you're basically, again, just doing top coat now. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, just as a little sort of insider tidbit, if you're using Mr. Color paints, you can actually use the Tamiya lacquer thinner, a different thing than Tamiya's acrylic thinner. But yeah, you can actually use it pretty well, and it's a potential substitute to those because I've seen some foreign posts as of late that people having trouble finding the Mr. Color brand thinner. So yeah, it's an alternative, and since I know for a fact Tamiya is just about everywhere, you can potentially be able to find it at more convenience, or even potentially lower in price to you. Even though I do know that the one advantage of the Mr. Color is that they do make a much larger bottle, which is more cost effective. But again, I mean, at the end of the day, you're kind of stuck by what you can actually find and get. Let's see, just about out of time. So next time will probably be another bit of a hiatus between videos, but next time I'll start doing some more of the assembly and talk about a couple more issues that I know are coming up. But until then, guess this will be it.